亲爱的选民、碧山大拜游居民、女士们、先生们，大家晚上好。刚才你刚听到杨黎明的演讲，好不好？他的福建话好办啊。你们有知道他是我们人民行动党的秘密武器，对反对党他们要注意的。2015年的大选快近尾声了，这次呢，一共有9个政党参选，很多居民我们访问那个时候跟我们讲，很兴奋。当我认为热量很大，当光太少。我担心呢，是许多居民被言论搞乱了，混淆不清。选举的结束后呢，新加坡是需要有能力的领导人来解决所有的问题和挑战，改善你们的生活，改善我的生活。还有没有好的领导人，我们的生活无法改善，新加坡也不能进步。所以呢，这9月11日，你们会做出选择，选出下一个5年为你们服务的国会议员，以及照顾这个事情的团队。选后呢，我希望我们的政府将在未来的5年继续领导新加坡的前进。如果候选人有很强的力量、很强的能力，他们当选后，当中有一些人会被邀请到政府中来服务，来领导这个国家，帮助我们解决许多困难。所以你们选的那个时候是认真的选择，直接影响你们的生活，包括你们的家人、你们这个城市，以及我们的国家的未来。我希望人民行动党继续为你们服务，我们尽力为你们的祖屋正直。我们知道，对于多大数的居民呢，他们的家、他们的祖屋来说，是他们最重要的资产。所以我们每年都会做这方面的工作，包括建设公园、健身角落、改廊、下车场等等。我们这样做呢，是提高你们的日常的生活水平，也特别对你们的有孩子的家庭，也保持你们这里的物价。现在呢，这个祖屋在大柏油碧山呢，是新加坡最高的。这个是因为我们每年从王根成部长1984年开始的，是每年改善，每年进步。我们也有很多乐龄，所以要照顾他们，因为他们是我们的建国一代，建设了新加坡。所以呢，我们做了很多节目，很多对他们用处的，好像我们建了110个老年健身场。也是最重要的，我们承诺是照顾我们年轻人的教育，特别是来自贫困家庭的教育。过去4年，我们总共提了200万新元社区奖学金给我们的学生，这边200万。 当我到社区访问，或者在市场上遇见了很多市民，他们都跟我们讲，这些计划让大家的生活更美好，这让我们感到欣慰。正如我那天音乐会上唱的《月亮代表我的心》，今晚不可以唱的，犯法的不可以的。也我不能没有你微笑。如果你的生活有幸福，我们也有幸福的。所以在接下来的5年里呢，我们将继续一直在做我们的事情。我们将把每个区域的市政计划的做更好。如果你相信我们，信任我们，把投票给人民行动党，就像过去做的那样，我们会实现我们的承诺。这个大选呢，我有个非常强的团队。我今年50多岁，但是他这个4位呢，坐在我的后面呢，全部在40多岁的。他们有丰富的工作经验，勤奋努力，了解居民的需求，他们能做事，能够做出许多改善这个碧山大巴窑和你的生活的事。我们诚恳的请你们再给我们机会，为你们服务，在5年，谢谢大家。This election is coming to an end. GE2015. 9 political parties this time. I think probably a record for the recent years. It started with 10, actually, 10 political parties. But for this constituency, 你为什么笑啊？ For this constituency, 2 candidates from the DPP resigned to join SPP, so 9 political parties contesting this election under the SPP banner, which Mr. Cham leads. I respect Mr. Cham. He's a good friend, a good political colleague. And I sincerely wish Mr. Cham well. I know Mr. and Mrs. Cham well. We see each other in Parliament. And of course, Mr. Cham and I are the same school. So we are respectful of our opponents, and you make the choice. But during this last week or so, you say this, I say that, who confirm? Who to listen to? Voters get very confused. Whether confused or not, September 11, you will have to choose, right? If you tick 2 boxes, not counted. You can only tick 1 box on 9/11. And that cross that you do will decide the MP who takes care of your town and the government that will lead Singapore. It's a very important decision, one that's probably more important than most people think. We went around walking the MRT, you saw us, we start about 7, meet you, then we go house to house, then at evening when you come back, we say hello again to MRT. And a few days ago, it was at Toa Payoh MRT, this young man, he was thinking in his 30s, was very worried. He had attended an opposition rally. He says, Dr. Eng, you are organizing secretary. How? I looked at him, he looked very worried. And I could see that he was very concerned. He was thinking to himself, what happens if on September 12, suddenly you don't have a PAP government. Think about it. Think about it. You wake up September 12, there is no PAP government. Will you feel happy? Will you feel confident? Or will the Singapore dollar plunge like the dollar elsewhere? It's not a joke. It's no laughing matter. Most of you bought houses here when we go around. Toa Payoh was built in 1968. 他们跟我讲，三房子是6200最早的。Earlier 6002, you buy 1 year later 7008 or something like that. It's gone up 50 times, you know. When I was young, the Singapore dollar, how much was the pound to the Singapore dollar? Can you remember? $8 1 pound. You go to UK, you cannot afford to eat. You just save. Australian dollar, how much? $3. You're younger than me, I think. $3. Right? There's no laughing matter. So it's a big decision, one that will set the direction for the future, because no matter what it is, the vote is final. On September 12, whatever it is, whatever the decision that all of us make together is the decision for Singapore. There is no turning back. All that we have built for 50 years doesn't matter when that decision is made. That was why this young man, when he talked to me, he asked me, how, Dr. Ng? So I looked at me and said, how? I said, I think Singaporeans are more sensible than that. But I also know that there are some who are still deciding. Not only here in Bishan, Toa Payoh, but everywhere in Singapore. Because like you attending the rallies, they attend one rally. Some of them, by the way, are serial rally attenders. They attend rally after rally after rally. 免费嘛. I want to help both voters here as well as voters everywhere by making 3 points. First, something good has come out of the elections, whatever the result. Many problems have been brought up, whether it's population, the economy, education, housing, cost of living, our social support, number of foreign workers. These are problems that you face every day. Whoever points them out, don't scold that person. He's right to point it out. These are the problems that you face day to day, and we should listen and understand in detail what the problems you are. But because all these problems have been brought up, it shows that Singapore is maturing as a democracy. Because over the 9 days, I've heard many views. Sometimes I cannot finish reading the newspaper. I said, wow, so much to read, give up. I wait for the summary. A lot of airing of views. You just count how many candidates, right? 9 parties, 89 constituencies, some 3-cornered fight. So at least 90 over candidates. How to read finish? And during any general election in any country, not only in Singapore, we all expect that the political opponents will try to score points. It's like football. I try to score a goal, you try to score one against me back. So some views are not really workable. They are very good liners. They are very good one-liners, make you angry, but not much use for government. But some are workable, whether it comes from the people that we meet as we talk to them, or even from opposition candidates. Whatever the views, I did not sense any fear in any of the candidates. In fact, all our candidates of all political parties are speaking freely. Nobody says, I dare not speak. In fact, they speak so much until 10 o'clock, chop. They cannot speak anymore. By the way, we have to stop by 10 o'clock today. It's a rule, right? Cannot speak beyond 10 o'clock. I can speak, but no sound can come out. So we have listened very carefully. We take down all the views that we hear. After the election, when the dust settles, when the temperature comes down, Singapore will still need to be governed. Somebody has to govern Singapore. And I said, if on September 12, if it's not the PAP government, how will you feel? Will you feel very confident stepping out of your house? Or will you feel a sense of fear? A sense of dread? Will you look into the future with confidence? No. Will you believe that Bishan Toa Payoh will become better? No. Will you believe that your 5-year plans will materialize? No. I'm not giving you the answer, right? You are just answering me, right? And no misika kilang ho. Singapore will still need to be governed. After the general election, our challenges will remain the same as before elections. Not only will the challenges remain, but even bigger problems are on our horizon. So I say, after the general election, time to put aside our differences, bringing as many ideas as we can, wherever they come from, so that we can lessen, if not solve, the problems that have been brought up. And I will address some of these problems that Singaporeans have told me as we walk about. We knew them, but they've given me in more detail what the problems are. Something good has come out of the election. I see many younger Singaporeans in their 30 years old, 40 years old. Some are walking every day with me. They took leave. They are wonderful people. They are laupan. I don't know whether they tell the laupan what they are doing, but they are walking with me from 7 until 11 every day. I don't pay them, by the way. They do it out of passion. They do it out because they believe in Singapore. We see many of them in their 30s and 40s. I meet Singaporeans in the bus stops, in the market, who are worried, who ask me, what direction is Singapore taking? This is a good sign. I may not agree with all their views, because sometimes they talk, you know, when you're meeting MRT, got so many pass by, they want to talk policy. So I tell them, okay, we talk a few minutes, then after that, we'll talk some more. But we have to engage them, because those in the 30s and 40s, those of you in the 30s and 40s are the ones that will take us to SG100. I won't be around. Some of them will be around. But I won't be around, so it will be those in their 30s and 40s. How many are 30 years old and 40 years old? Put up your hand. Okay, 我们靠你哈. Take us to SG100. So after this election, I intend to continue speaking to these people that I met, even some in the opposition parties, as long as they have good ideas. Because if it's good for Singapore, it's good for all of us. My second point, how do we deal with the problems that have been brought up during the elections? We have to deal with the problems as we have dealt with them before. You asked the older generation, Mr. Wong told you the difficulties in 1984. Are the problems more in the older generation or less? Are the problems for our children more or less? The truth is, every generation will have a problem. Every generation will have problems because perfection does not exist. 天堂可以. You live on earth, you get only to choose your problems, that's all. You will have problems. Whatever the issue, cost of living, wages, foreign labor, professional managers, executives, PMETs, we call it, university places. We deal with them as we have done before. We spell out clearly what is the problem. Ask first, what is the problem? We state the goal we all want to achieve. Because sometimes you state the problem, some people say, my housing price too high. So we say, okay, we sell you low. But he said, he want to buy low, but I want to sell high. So you have to state the goal that all of us say, okay, this is the right goal that we want. And then we look at what we can do. We weigh what we have to trade off. We get the support of the majority of Singaporeans because no matter how good your solution, if you cannot get Singaporeans to support it, it's done. Cannot be done. And then make sure that the country can afford it. Make sure that our children don't get indebted. What did our founding generation do for us? They built up reserves and they gave us more than what they had. What must we do for the younger generation? We have to give them more than what we receive. That's the right way to run a country, to run a government. Not put debt on our children so that we blight their future, reduce their opportunities. This is how we settle issues of the past 50 years. And this is how we must treat the problems that have come up during the general election. I give you two simple examples. How we treated the problems in the past. You look at housing, look at around you. All around you, Ahud Road behind. Now the Ahud Road is ours, by the way. Bishan Toa Payoh already. So I can point this side and say it's ours. You look around you, all the housing here. Mr. Wong says these were farms before. Some of you remember, I met an old couple, they were living in Bishan. Now they're living in Bishan flats, but before they were living in a farm in Bishan. So I said, 你有养鸡吗? Say, 有. 猪吗? 有. They were rearing pigs and chicken. I said, wow, quite chubby, not bad, quite nice. But we had to resettle them and build public housing. Was it easy to do? The old MPs will tell you resettlement was a huge problem. We had to convince Singaporeans. They had to take sacrifices so that all of us, the next generation, can benefit. Today, that is why Bishan and Toa Payoh have been cleared. 80%, more than 80% live in public housing. And the same will happen for Bidadari near here. Who can remember what Bidadari was? By the way, half the Singapore was cemetery. Bidadari was a cemetery. We had to clear it. It wasn't popular. It needed people to adjust to the lifestyle. There's always a trade-off. I give you another example, education. Bishan Toa Payoh has some of the, every good school is a good school, but we have some of the best schools. CHIJ, first Toa Payoh, primary, Pei Chin, Keng Ching, Catholic High, RIRGS. Right? But when we started out, we had to convince Singaporeans to move from the vernacular schools, they were being taught in Malay, Chinese, Tamil, to move to English teaching schools. It wasn't easy. 你们记得吗? Mr. Wong, when he was young, went to 2 schools every day. Really? He went to English morning. English morning, Chinese afternoon. Same lessons, I think. We solve our problems that we have as we have in the past. Not by shouting at you, shouting at me back, jeering. Not even by rallies, even as though it's as fun as it is. Or easy to put out slogans. Easy to make people angry. Foreign labor. 6.9 million. Jobs for others, low wages. Easy to say all that. Do you solve your problems? After you've made everybody angry, are the problems solved? You solve problems by dealing with the reality squarely. You work with Singaporeans, listen and engage with them. So After September 11, let me tell you that the problems that Singapore will face will still be there. The problems don't go away. In fact, they are already on us. The terrorism threat, ISIS, bombs that went off in Bangkok, Malaysia armed forces, they have armed forces soldiers who have gone to Iraq and Syria and they're coming back. Indonesia, 500 people radicalized that we know, they've gone to Iraq and Syria and are coming back. And they say, all those who have come back from both Malaysia and Indonesia, they want an Islamic caliphate in Southeast Asia. They are telling you, if I'm strong enough, I'm going to attack you in your homes. You can stop me, you try, but I will try harder. And if I'm a suicide bomber, who do you want to put up against me? You can decide to have a weak police force and an SAF to protect this against this. You try. And when you can't, who do you turn to? Easy to shout slogans. Easy to say, cut, spend. But are you protecting your Singaporeans? Countries around us have become more nationalistic. It's their right to be. Indonesia says, I'm the biggest country in ASEAN. Saya abang. So you better behave like adik. When the haze comes, I only apologize if the 11 months you say thank you for the oxygen. Are you going to say thank you? If we don't have a strong SAF, you think you won't say thank you? From 2020, you have no new local workers. Think about it. Never happened in our modern history. I'm not talking about 50 years of history. I think I'm talking about 150 years of history. No new local workers. By 2030, nearly 1 million people above 65 years old. So I give you the example. As I said, the actual number is 900,000 people above 65 by 2030. So you divide over the 89 constituencies that are now, each constituency will have 10,000 people above 65. Each constituency has roughly about 100 blocks of flats and apartments. So each block will have 100 people above 65. Every block visit you go, you'll find 100 people over 65. And in that same block, only 200 to support them, because that's our dependency ratio. Who's going to take care of them? I don't say this to scare us, but you have to address these problems as one people, and I believe we can do it. When Singaporeans unite, nobody can stand against us.
That's right.
We did it against 9/11. We held the community together. Mr. Wong was largely responsible for holding us together. He was Deputy Prime Minister of MHA. MHA uncovered the GI plot. If a bomb had gone off, today we won't be here talking so easily. Because our race relations will fracture. We did it against the Bali bomb blast, against SARS, against the global financial crisis. My third point, we must believe in a better Singapore that we can build together. The opposition say, you have done such a bad job of Singapore, you should give it to us so that we can build it for the next 50 years. I wish I could try. I wish there were two Singapores. You take one, I take the other. After 50 years, we compare. There isn't two Singapores. There's only one Singapore. You fail, you fail. Not only can we overcome all our challenges, I think SG100, as Mr. Lee Kuan Yew said a few months before his death, when he was asked whether he believed in Singapore, he used these words: of course, even better.
Even better.
Even better. Do you believe that we can build a Singapore that's even better? Let me describe to you a Singapore that's even better. In the south, we're starting 中间啊这边，我们去南方先。South, the whole area will be transformed when the port relocates because we're going to relocate it to Jurong. What you saw happen in Marina Bay will happen in front of Sentosa. Beautiful landscape, whole stretch for our children to enjoy. In the west, Jurong and Clementi are being transformed, already very vibrant, but the high-speed rail will transform it even more, and more lines are being added to the west now. In the east, you have the Jewel. Changi Airport will be expanded. Terminal 1, 2, 3 will be smaller than Terminal 4 and 5. Just imagine. When Paya Lebar relocates, the whole region in the northeast will be transformed. Aljunied, Tampines, Pasir Ris, Punggol. Even if they shout against us, we will still transform it and improve their lives. I was defense minister, I looked at it, I said, let's study a plan that we can move Paya Lebar Air Base to Changi and Tengah so that we can redevelop this place. We can do it and still be safe, we should do it. Never entered my mind that Aljunied was there. Doesn't matter. Singapore will still be here, and Singapore must be even better. In this region near you, something very exciting will happen. The whole sports complex, my direction gone already. The whole sports complex will be redeveloped. Bidadari, a town will spring up. You'll be able to connect greenery, cycling, ABC program, the waterways that you've seen in Bishan, Ang Mo Kio Park will also be extended elsewhere. And in the north, Sembawang, Woodlands, new towns across Singapore. This is a Singapore that's even better. The third generation leaders in government now have started these programs. But I will tell you honestly, it will have to be the fourth generation of leaders and Singaporeans who must complete it. At the same time, we must improve our local support and community building. We've started workfare, PG package, MediShield Plus, silver support, enhanced HDB grants, fresh start housing, all that we started in the last 2 terms. And we have to do more. I talked about what you told me were problems. Let me tell you what I think we need to do. First, those in the middle ages, 50 and 60s. I know you're worried. You're worried that if you lose your jobs when you're 50s and 60s, you find it very hard to find another job, right? You tell me, I've been looking. We have to work with employers and change this very, very short-sighted mindset. People in their 50s and 60s can be productive. We have to help our Singaporeans gain new skills so that they can be re-employed and work longer. The professionals and managers and executives in their 30s and 40s, what do they say? We must make sure that it is a Singaporean core that keeps our economy going. We need foreigners, but it is a Singaporean core, you, me. We are not asking for handouts or special privileges. Singaporeans don't need this. They are well-skilled, well-educated. They are in great demand everywhere. But companies, when they hire, must ensure that they have a Singaporean core of middle management. If they don't, what do? We send them Lim Swee Say. Lim Swee Say is last time Union Chief, before that EDB Chief, EDB. He's looking around for companies that don't understand our philosophy. and he's having a word with them. If the word doesn't do, if he talks to the CEO and the HR director, it doesn't help, Lim Swee Say will know what to do. I went on a walkabout. One lady told me that a company was doing this. So I said, you whisper in my ear, what is your company? He said, can. I said, can. I will tell Lim Swee Say what the company is. Young family with kids. We started priority housing so that you can live near your parents because you need them nearby because they take care of your children. We have to make childcare and preschool more affordable and more accessible. We have to ramp up mega facilities. Singles, those who are not married, we have to make sure they are treated fairly. It's a lifestyle option, but they should be treated fairly. We've started housing options for them. We should do more. Children and adults with special needs, we have to make sure we integrate them to society more. Many times, government officials are asked what keeps us awake at night. These are the problems that keep us awake at night. How do I make Singapore better? We think through them daily. I've not even mentioned security, economic restructuring, environmental issues, the haze. But to solve all these problems, to make your lives better, we need more capable ministers, we need more good MPs to help us. And this is why we ask for a strong mandate. The ridiculous argument is, I ask a strong mandate to bully you. Why in the world would I want to bully you? If I bully you, you'll punish me back, right? Ridiculous argument. This is just an argument to get the opposition more seats. As PM says, vote PAP, make them work harder. I want to end in 5 minutes by telling you what we do for Bishan Toa Payoh. So far, I've talked to the rest of Singapore. For Bishan Toa Payoh, it's very easy. You know me 15 years. I make a pledge to Mr. Wong and his team. He served for 30 years. I say, when I'm leading this GRC, I make a pledge to you. I will continue your good work. So I brought in these 4. Josephine is the only, not, well, how to describe Josephine? The other three are new lah. Huh? But they got longer legs than me. They can last 15 years, I think, at least. Because it will take that long. We will improve your town year by year. Whether the prices go up and down, the flats in Bishan, Toa Payoh will stay high, among the highest in Singapore. That's easy to do. Every year we will add something. Every year when people look at your houses, it says, okay, here is worth, I pay 5,000, 10,000 more compared to other places. It's simple. We can manage our town council properly, we add. That's why we paint your blocks once in 5 years. You know that we do that. We built 114 elderly fitness parks. We built 3G parks. We built covered walkways. We just keep building until there's no more space to build. Last 4 years, we brought in more VWOs because our population is aging. So when we go house to house market visits, you say, these programs have helped you. We are very, very happy when we hear that, because I said this in my Chinese speech as I sang in the musical concert, our heart is with you. 月亮代表我的心. And if you smile, we smile. I can't smile without you. So in the next 5 years, we will just continue to do what we have been doing. If you believe in us, trust in us, you vote us as your MPs. If you don't, we take your decision as final. If you trust us, if you believe that we can continue to do as what we have been doing for the nearly 50 years that Toa Payoh has been built, nearly over 30 years that Bishan has been built, taken care of by PAP MPs non-stop, have we failed you? No. We will work hard as we have done in the past, and deliver what we promised. I have a good team, as I say, all of them in their prime of their life, good experience, good with people, know how to get things done. They will be able to improve the town in your lives. So, we are asking humbly We want to serve you for another 5 years. Give us a chance. And for the rest of Singapore, vote in a strong PAP government that can make Singapore even.
Thank you, Dr. Eng.